Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be reading The King and the Fairy of the Forest. Let's start. Once upon a time there was a king who loved hunting. He lived with his beautiful wife and two daughters in an enormous castle. He was unhappy because he had no son to leave his crown to. One day he sat at the table and thought, "Oh, I wish I had a son." Very soon his wife had a son. The king was very happy when he saw his little son. He gave a big dinner party and invited everybody in the country. They ate and drank and congratulated the king and the queen. "Hooray for the young prince," they shouted. There was a mean king in a nearby country. He frequently attacked the neighboring countries to gain more land. So the king wanted his son to become a good fighter. When the young prince grew up, the king taught him how to use the bow and arrow, and a sword. The king frequently took the young prince to the forest for hunting. On a beautiful summer day, the king and the prince went hunting in the forest as usual. The king saw a deer behind the bushes and shot his arrow quickly. A soldier walked to the bushes to pick up the animal. The soldier looked at the poor animal sadly. The arrow was stuck in her throat, and she was lying on the ground helplessly. The king was also sorry for the poor animal. Very soon the deer's mother appeared. Tears were falling down her cheeks when she saw her baby lying on the ground dead. She was scared of the king and his soldiers. She looked at them with her big eyes and ran quickly into the forest. Everybody was very badly affected by this occasion. The king decided to stop hunting and go home. Then, suddenly, they saw a blue light in the dark forest, and a fairy came out of the light. "Wow, who are you?" asked the king. "I am the fairy of the forest," she answered. "Now watch me," said the fairy. She touched the young prince with her magic stick and changed him into a deer. The king and his soldiers was puzzled. The king could not believe his eyes. "Give me my son," he shouted, but the fairy of the forest disappeared at once. Suddenly all was very quiet. His son began to run as if he was afraid of the hunters. "Stop, stop," shouted the king, but the deer did not listen. He ran faster and faster. The king and his soldiers looked for the young prince but could not find him. Sadly, the king returned to his castle. As the king arrived home, he found his wife lying in bed ill. "What's the matter with you?" he asked. "Something strange happened when you were away," answered the queen. "Our daughters were playing in the front yard. Suddenly they changed into geese and flew away." "That fairy of the forest," thought the king. The queen got worse as she heard that her son had changed into a deer in the forest. From then on, hunting was forbidden in the whole country. The king promised, "I'll give a sack of gold if anyone finds and brings my children back to me." People all over the country went into the forest and brought deer and geese they caught into the castle, but nobody could tell whether those were the king's children or not. One day a strange old man came to the castle. "What do you want?" asked the king. "I heard you lost your children," said the old man, "and I think I can help you. Protect the wilderness and feed the wild animals. If you make the fairy of the forest happy, she will make you happy too." Then the old man disappeared. All the people in the country started to plant trees and flowers. They fed the wild animals and built shelters for them. They cured the animals which were ill. The Fairy of the Forest was so happy that she gave the king his children back. The king and everybody in the country were very, very happy. From then on, people and animals all lived happily ever after together, and the king never killed any more animals. The end. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.